The reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Well, she's talking about the championship game a year ago, LSU versus Iowa.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
And LSU prevailed. But to your earlier point, there was an incident recently. Alyssa Thomas, who happens to be African-American, grabbed Angel Reese by the throat and threw her to the floor. Flagrant 2, ejected from the game. The reason why that doesn't spark as much conversation isn't just that Caitlin Clark is a bigger star than Alyssa Thomas. It's because it's a black-on-black incident.
Wow.
And you don't have that dynamic that people can comment on, yes, but also exaggerate and make the entire story.
And so here we go again. Welcome back to the Dark Times channel. And so I want to go ahead and take a second to chime in on the great legendary Bob Costas and talk about his appearance on CNN.
This cheap shot from Caitlin Clark's opponent has America talking tonight, some suggesting that the league should be nicer to its golden child, and others chalking it up to tough basketball. But I look at this and I'm like, why are they treating Caitlin Clark like a child? She's a player.
In which the topic of Caitlin Clark was being discussed, in particular because of Pat McAfee saying what he said about her.
Now, that incident has now sparked an even bigger conversation about Clark's meteoric rise in the WNBA and whether race and privilege are playing any part of it. Now, according to Pat McAfee, it doesn't. Watch.
I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white for the Indiana team who is a superstar.
And Pat McAfee, for what it's worth, is exactly what people are talking about when they're talking about Caitlin Clark fanatics. People like Pat McAfee need to pump the brakes. They don't know what they're looking at. When they're looking at the game of basketball, it entails more than shooting a lot of three-pointers, especially if they're not even going in. Caitlin Clark has probably one of the worst three-point percentages in the WNBA and one of the worst field goal percentages within the WNBA. She's shooting around 29% on the year. That's atrocious. I think she has a chance to definitely work her way up and get somewhere maybe close to a respectable number. But as of right now, she's not doing it. She's not proving anything. And so that's the issue that people have with the Pat McAfees and the Caitlin Clark fans. People have a right to be a little envious and a little jealous of mediocrity.
Followers and analysts who are trying to describe this women's game, welcome to the WNBA. We are happy you've arrived, but do me a favor, do your research. That's where the arguments are happening and where people are angry.
Let me play. This is Stephen A. talking about this on the show.
There are girls, young ladies in the WNBA who are jealous of Caitlin Clark. She is a white girl that has come into the league. She has bursted onto the scene. She hasn't proven herself yet. It's not even about them thinking they're better than her because they probably know it at this particular juncture because they've been playing on a level she just arrived to.
Now, Monica there on the screen, we didn't have time to play it, but she made the point that Carrie's making, which is welcome to the WNBA. A lot of new fans, but a lot of people have critiques about women playing sports.
Well, yeah, but I think it's fair to say, because it's complicated, like many things, there is an element of jealousy because of all the attention that Caitlin Clark has received. And some people will attribute some of that attention to the fact that in addition to being a very exciting and record-setting player, she is white in a league that is not as disproportionate, that's the wrong word, not as...
And so whoop, there it is. Bob Costas said the quiet part out loud. The reason why Caitlin Clark has garnished this much attention is not just because she's an exciting player, because she is, or at least she was. She hasn't been that exciting in the WNBA, but she was an exciting player within the college ranks. And like I said before on this channel, she was J.J. Redick in college. One of the best three-point shooters in college, scored a lot of points. J.J. Redick was the all-time leading scorer at Duke. I believe he still is. But nobody was clamoring for J.J. Redick when he got to the NBA. It was a wait and see. Let's see how his game translates once he gets to the NBA.
what's the word I'm looking
But
for?
predominantly black, the
Right,
NBA.
but not as much as the NBA.
Yeah.
But I think it's closer to 50-50 from my observation. But it's still, there's a large African-American presence, and there may be some resentment from some people. But that doesn't mean that that's the entire story here. A lot of this stuff, to the point you're getting at, a lot of this stuff is what happens in sports. A highly touted rookie, white, black, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, they're going to be tested by the veterans. And sometimes that will cross a line. Yeah. What Kennedy Carter did was a dirty play.
It was a dirty play.
And it was a flagrant foul.
And so, of course, Bob Costas is right on the money. And Bob Costas is somebody that's been around, if you're not familiar with Bob Costas, for at least 4 decades now in the sports arena, covering almost every single sport I think there is. And so this is somebody that knows what he's talking about. This is somebody that knows what he sees. And we know what we see. We see a lot of these different sports analysts putting on the cape for Caitlin Clark because they're told to do so.
Yo, you see who the golden goose is? Don't hate on it. Don't resent it. Ride it and use it to your advantage to elevate your profile and your cachet. Don't resent it and hate on it. Use it.
I would offer this to you guys in the conversation. Is there jealousy? Okay. Probably. That's part of the human experience, right?
Probably,
but if
Monica.
Probably,
Monica.
What?
Probably, Monica.
Yeah, what I was saying.
I know it's definitely.
Say it. No, Monica. No, don't parse words, Monica.
Say it, Monica.
I know you got to go in those locker rooms.
Shannon's
right.
right.
I know you
Say
cool
it,
with
Monica.
those women. Say it.
And Carrie Champion is going to allude to this here in a second. Nobody cared about women beating up on women in the WNBA before Caitlin Clark. Nobody cared. It was a whole bunch of...
So I watched the basketball game last night between a little bit of Rutgers and Tennessee, the women's final. Some hardcore hoes. That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm going to tell you that now. Oh, man, that's some...
That is really that is between
no
the
one
lines.
cared about the WNBA when women of a certain color were beating up and bruising each other because it's been happening since the league's inception.
Mm-hmm.
We have this star, this person that people love. They want to protect her. So now the new fans and the new analysts and the new people have so much to say. Bob, thank you for saying that and acknowledging that because you're a legend in this sport. And you are also gracious enough to say, look, I'm not an expert in the WNBA, but what I do know from the history and what I do know, this is why she is being treated this way and why no one cares about
I've seen it in every sport. A newcomer is tested and to some extent resented.
And so I thought that this is a pretty good segment, pretty good conversation between Bob Costas, Carrie Champion, and this host on CNN. I thought they did a good job of breaking down just exactly what's going on and the hysteria and the mania behind Caitlin Clark and what it's really about. But go ahead and let me know what y'all think in the comment section. And as usual, peace and chaos.